Hello and welcome to another episode of A Discussion With. Today I'm sitting down with a guest that I was admiring her work, to be honest with you. We're on social media. One of our volunteers created a video that you probably saw based on the viewership of that video. My Healthy Sweet Tooth is joining me today. She is doing some fantastic work, some awesome recipes. You have a blog, you have all this information that's out there to help people. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and share my story and a little bit of background information. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I mean, I saw the video at first came out, and I'll give credit where it's due. Our videographer, Preet, did a great job editing the video. I thought it was great. And then it popped off, and it really had some great success. What was that like, seeing a video that you were a part of really take off like that?
It was mind-blowing, honestly. I was not expecting that amount of support, and yes, a huge shout out goes to Preet, the behind-the-scenes cameraman. Without him, none of that would have been possible, so a huge shout out goes to him. And honestly, I was overwhelmed by the amount of support and all the great reactions that came from it. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to do this.
Tell me a little bit about what you do. If you were to describe My Healthy Sweet Tooth, what is it?
Okay, so it is usually consists of me waking up every day and creating a new recipe in the kitchen, and usually I post almost all the recipes that turn out great, and I like to share them with my viewers on the blog and with all my followers on all my social media platforms.
That's awesome. I mean, I went to the blog, I saw that very organized, and it's also really simple to go and find what you're looking for, find something that you want to have. Where do you come up with the ideas of your recipes, and what are you putting together?
Well, my hopes is to one day create an ebook or a cookbook, but usually I just like to keep everything really organized and minimalistic, like you said, simplistic, so then that way anyone of any kind can find my recipes easier. So that's why I have little headers, and I honestly hope that one day I will be able to release a cookbook or maybe even open a restaurant or a bakery, fingers crossed, But
that's awesome. This is where it starts, is that you have this passion and this drive. Where do you get it from? Where did your passion for cooking come from?
It honestly came from my dad and my parents. They were definitely a huge part of it and a huge influence on me, because I grew up sort of watching my dad experiment around the kitchen. He's sort of the same way like I do. He always just plays around, trial and error, tests to see if recipes are working. If not, he troubleshoots them and tries it again. And the most important thing is not giving up. So if something doesn't work out the first time, it's always important to make sure you try again.
And where did you come up with why the health food, why specifically going down that avenue?
Yeah, so the healthy aspect of My Healthy Sweet Tooth came from over quarantine, actually. Quarantine sparked that creativity and that drive to become a healthier version of myself, because once the world shut down, I noticed how physically unhealthy I was, not in terms of weight or size or that sort of stuff, but just physically, I would get winded going up the stairs. I noticed that my eating habits weren't the best, and that I was just overall a very unproductive and not very organized and put together person. And I intended to change that over quarantine. And once quarantine overstretched to 2020 and almost to 2021, when the mask mandate finally came up, I just decided that, I want to go forth with this. I want to become this best version of myself. And to do that, obviously, I can't replace my sweet tooth. So from there, I decided to, find healthy alternatives to the sweets I was craving. So
that's awesome. And the first episode that you brought out was the carrot banana bread cake. Yeah. And it was delicious. It looks awesome on camera, but it really, Preet tried it. He was telling me, you got to make it at home. You got to try it yourself. It certainly looks like an awesome cake. So that episode, why was that the one that you started with, and what was the inspiration behind that recipe?
I would say it was the first, if I'm going to be honest here, I would say it was the first successful recipe, or the first 10 out of 10 that my family gave. And if you haven't made it already, I encourage you to not only make it, but let me know how it goes and share it with me, because it's definitely a fan favorite and an original that is very well known on my page. So
that's awesome. Your page is packed too. Like, you are very active. You are constantly coming up with new stuff. I feel like I'm almost nervous that you're going to run out at some point. You just have so much going on. It's I encourage people, tell them about your Instagram. What's the handle? What's the website that they should be going to visit for your recipes?
Yes, of course. Everything is myhealthysweettooth.com. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest now, and YouTube with Medfield TV, and obviously on the internet. If you just search up My Healthy Sweet Tooth, usually the first thing that would pop up isn't my website, but the Medfield TV segment I did, and then second should be my website. So yeah, just look forward to that.
That's awesome. We can't wait to continue working with you. I mean, it was right away, we knew we wanted to do some more healthy stuff. We have a new show coming out that's going to be some exercises, things like that. But now we have a food show that's on Medfield TV, and we're really excited about it. I think that it's important that people start to realize that they can eat healthier and not substitute, taste and flavor. That was such an important part of your show and obviously of your entire brand. Tell me about that. It was the experimenting of how did you find out that I can keep things delicious and make them healthy?
Well, yes. The first thing that I did was, it obviously started with like milk and cocoa powder and chocolate chips and baking soda, baking powder, all the traditional baking staples. And I slowly began making that transition to healthier alternatives, if you will, to like cacao powder and almond flour and almond milk. And some people are a little hesitant when they see me use stuff like vegan butter or aquafaba or vegan cream cheese, because they're like, what is that stuff made out of? What are you doing? But once they give it a try, they're like, this is healthy. And I loved seeing that reaction to people, but it was definitely a slow process to convert to cooking with mostly natural ingredients.
Is it difficult to cook with the other ingredients? Do you think that people are going to have like besides actually pulling it off the shelf and putting it into your shopping cart, but utilizing it, are there different strategies to use those different items?
Yeah, I definitely noticed when starting out that like substitutes like almond flour and oat flour definitely give the final end products a different texture and taste and flavor, which in some scenarios can be really good, but sometimes it doesn't always turn out the way you intend on it having. But I like to refer back to my foundations, if you will. If I ever have trouble, it's always baking soda, salt, vanilla extract, flour, milk, eggs. So that's usually where I always retreat back to if something isn't right.
Now, are all of your meals vegan? Are they all in that avenue, or are some of them not vegan?
Yeah, we accustom all the recipes towards different dietary restrictions. So that includes gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free, and most of the time it's vegan, because that's the way I personally eat.
That's awesome. Now, going forward, what are some of your plans moving on, and what do you want to grow it to becoming?
Well, my ultimate dream is to have a double degree in college of being a nutritionist and a personal trainer, or going into like fitness and physical therapy and that sort of stuff. But my intention this summer is, this is an unreleased project that I guess I'm now going to release. I'm working on an ebook as of right now that I'm going to be able to directly sell from my website, that will have a bunch of new features on it, like you will be able to scale up and down the recipes, make easy ingredient swap outs if you do have those dietary restrictions. And my goal is to release, like I said, a cookbook, and a dream would be to start taking orders someday. Although it's kind of, like you said, overwhelming because there's so many recipes, but I'd probably narrow it down to just a few.
Absolutely. Pick a few of them, start with that ebook, come out with volume 2, 3, and then later on you'll be, the next big thing on the Food Network. It'd be fantastic. This is awesome. I mean, just seeing all the things that you've been doing, I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about where you're going and what you're doing. Is there anyone that inspires you? Like, what is driving you to want to do this?
It's my family. My family are my biggest supporters, my family and friends, I should say, because every time I bake something for them, I always ask them the repetitive question, out of 10, what would you rate my food out of 10? And it gets annoying after a while, but I genuinely like to know, and I appreciate the feedback for any of my recipes, good or bad, because I feel like it helps me grow as a baker. And I just love seeing people's reaction to trying my food and having that constant question of, wait, is this really healthy? It's fun.
That's awesome. Do you post any of like the calorie count or anything like that on your recipes?
No, I do not, because I don't believe that food deserves to have a number label. Like, we don't walk around with like our BMIs or our weights on our chest, so I don't believe that food needs that label either. I think it's an unhealthy mindset, but it works for some people, calorie counting. It just personally doesn't work for me.
That's awesome. And I think that that's an important part of, daily life. Is a lot of times people go into it and they start counting the calories and they live their days by that way.
Yeah.
But if you just understand of what healthy food is, you don't have to keep counting those numbers and counting that calories. So that's an awesome transition that you've created. And just a great way to create something different too. I think when I was scrolling through your Instagram, one of the things that I noticed was like there's just totally different ideas and concepts that you have. I tried one of your sorbets that you made, and so I tried that the other day, and I even gave it to my fiance, and I was like, hey, they're making sorbet now, so it's like awesome to go through it and see all the different things that you can just try out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's fantastic. What are some of the other things that you'd like to do next? What's the next recipe that we're going to be seeing on Medfield TV? Do you know yet?
I have a couple in mind, because my intention, if it's obviously okay with you guys, is to release like a summer recipe. So I typically like the carrot cake banana bread was completely inspired by the month of spring, because I feel like carrot cake can often be associated with the Easter Bunny, which can often be associated with springtime. So I think I might do one of my lemony recipes, like either my lemon almond sugar cookies, which were delicious, or maybe my lemon poppy seed muffins. I haven't decided between those two yet, but it'll definitely be one of those.
That's awesome. And I think I speak for everyone in Medfield when I say we support you. We want you to keep coming out with these recipes. We would love to be cooking at our home with delicious food like you've been making. But is there anything else you want to say to the people in Medfield that they should be trying, they should be exercising as they're going forward in this new journey that you're bringing us on?
Yeah. I don't want to force anything on the community of Medfield, and I just want to throw that out there for all of you, that I am not by any means forcing a lifestyle on anyone, whether it's vegan, pescatarian, dairy-free, gluten-free, any of that. I honestly just live my life to inspire others to live a healthier lifestyle, mentally and physically. So.
That's awesome. Well, My Healthy Sweet Tooth, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you
so much for coming on to our channel. It's been fantastic having you so far, and it's only been one episode. So we're so excited to have you and continue to grow this relationship. It's going to be awesome, and to see both your platforms and ours grow based on your work is really, it's incredible. Seeing just the things that you're going to be able to do. I can't wait to help you out and hope that all your little projects take off, and I can't wait to promote your ebook once that's finished. It's going to be fantastic. This is great.
Oh, thank you. Well,
thank you
for having me. I really appreciate being here with you today and sharing a little bit of background information and some of my history.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you.